What if I told you that everything you see, touch, and experience is not as solid as it appears, that your reality is not fixed, but programmable? That there is a secret, so potent, so reality-shattering, it's been hidden, layered in metaphors, buried beneath ancient rituals, and encoded in symbols so only the initiated could ever grasp it. This isn't conspiracy. This is clarity. The kind that only emerges after you've stripped away every illusion, every false identity, every belief you inherited from a world afraid of its own power. And once you touch this secret, once your consciousness locks onto it, nothing in your life will operate the same again. This is not for the curious. This is for the chosen. And if you've been drawn to this moment, you already know you were never here to obey reality. You were here to bend it. They don't want us to know the truth. Not because it's dangerous, but because it makes us uncontrollable. Because when you know that reality bends to belief, that matter follows mind, that your thoughts are not echoes but blueprints, you stop being a follower. You stop being a consumer. You stop being a pawn. You become a creator, a transmitter, a conscious architect of frequency. And that kind of being doesn't ask for permission. That kind of being doesn't need validation. That kind of being becomes a threat to every structure built on control. So the secret was hidden, not in plain sight, but hidden in the language of initiates. Layered in sacred geometry, cloaked in religious texts, encoded in the rituals of ancient orders. The 33rd degree is not a title, it's a state of access. It's not about rank, it's about resonance. The first thing you must understand is this: reality is not physical, it is vibrational. What you call solid is energy slowed down. What you call time is perception filtered through belief. Your senses are not designed to show you truth, they are designed to show you survival. And that means the majority of what you think is real is actually a projection of your conditioning. But beneath all of that, beneath the programming, beneath the trauma, beneath the inherited patterns, is the raw field of creation, the 0 point. The void, the place where intention becomes form. And if you can reach that space, not just intellectually, but vibrationally, you regain access to the original code.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
The secret is this: reality is a mirror, and the reflection is delayed. This means what you experience is not what's true now, it's what was true in your consciousness yesterday, last week, last month. So if you try to change your life by reacting to what you see, you're already behind. You're chasing a ghost. But if you shift your inner frequency, now your thoughts, your emotions, your embodiment, your future reality has no choice but to bend. This is why the masters taught presence, why they spoke in paradoxes. Because the moment you stop reacting and start radiating, you exit the matrix of cause and effect. You become a cause in and of yourself. But let's go deeper, because this is where most people stop. They learn about manifestation, the law of attraction, and they think that's the peak. But that's just the first step. The real secret, the one they never teach in the mainstream, is frequency stacking. It's not enough to think positively. You must feel it, embody it, anchor it somatically, and broadcast it consistently. The universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your signal. And your signal is not just a thought. It's a total energetic field made of belief, memory, emotion, and embodiment. Most people don't fail to manifest because they're not thinking big enough. They fail because they're still vibrating at the frequency of fear, lack, and doubt. And here's the forbidden part. Your reality is not just influenced by your frequency, it is entirely shaped by it. This includes your body, your relationships, your finances, your purpose, your environment, everything. Which means the moment you shift your internal state consistently, you trigger a chain reaction in the quantum field. And this field doesn't operate on logic. It operates on resonance. This is why the ancient orders were obsessed with symbols, tones, rituals. Because they knew these were tools to shift frequency and therefore shift reality. Now, what happens when you apply this knowledge with precision and devotion? You begin to operate from what the ancients called the inner temple. This is the place where your consciousness meets the source field. In this space, you don't ask for change, you command it. Not from ego, but from alignment. You don't chase outcomes, you generate timelines. You don't bend reality with force, you bend it with frequency. And the more you operate from this space, the more the outer world starts to feel like a lucid dream. Synchronicities increase, resistance decreases. You begin to walk with a sense of knowing that defies logic, and others feel it. They won't know why they're drawn to you, but they will be, because you're broadcasting a signal they forgot they could hear. But this kind of power requires purification. You cannot hold 33rd degree energy with a fragmented nervous system. You must clear the trauma loops. You must dissolve the false identities. You must strip away every belief that says you are small, separate, or sinful. Because those beliefs create static in your field, and static distorts signal. So the work isn't just in learning the secret, it's in becoming the vessel that can hold it. And that means feeling the pain you've avoided, facing the shadows you've buried, integrating the parts of you that you thought disqualified you from power. Because the truth is, the shadow is not your enemy. It is your unrefined potential. Now ask yourself this: what if the very parts of you you've been trying to hide are the key to unlocking your access to the field? What if the guilt, the shame, the fear once transmuted become the fire that fuels your frequency? Can you sit with that possibility? Can you hold your own darkness with the same reverence you give the light? Because the 33rd degree power is not about escaping duality, it's about integrating it. It's about holding both ends of the spectrum and choosing your center. It's about knowing you can collapse timelines with thought and still choose compassion. It's about commanding reality while remaining in service. This balance is what protects the power. Without it, power becomes manipulation. But with it, power becomes liberation, not just for you, but for everyone you impact. And here's where it gets even more real. Once you begin to live from this space, you will be tested. Not by some external judge, but by your own subconscious. Old patterns will rise. Old timelines will try to pull you back. Your body will resist the new signal because it's addicted to the old one. This is the purification in motion. This is the battle every master had to pass through. The final gate is not knowledge, it's embodiment. It's consistency. It's choosing your new frequency when everything in you wants to relapse into the familiar. So I'll ask you something no one else will. Are you willing to die to the version of you that survived so you can become the version of you that creates? Are you willing to lose your old life not because it was bad, but because it was built on a frequency that no longer matches who you are becoming? Because once you say yes to that, the secret stops being theory, it becomes reality. Now that we've uncovered the core of the secret, and you've seen what it means to hold the 33rd degree power and principle, the real shift begins when you stop intellectualizing and start embodying. Because this power is not something you learn in the way you were taught in school. It's not about memorizing new ideas, it's about unlearning everything that disconnects you from your innate authority. Every time you try to understand this power only with your mind, you reduce it. This secret does not live in the mind, it lives in the field. And the field responds not to logic, but to frequency. This is why people who know the words but don't live the vibration still remain trapped in the illusion of limitation. If your body doesn't believe it, your reality won't reflect it. Let me tell you something that will stretch your entire concept of free will. The secret hidden behind the 33rd degree is not just that you can bend reality, but that you already are. Every second of every day, your beliefs are shaping timelines. Your emotional state is creating templates of possibility. Your focus is feeding the hologram. The only difference between those who consciously bend reality and those who unconsciously repeat it is awareness. If you are not aware of what you're broadcasting, then you are not creating your looping. And the loop keeps you in energetic debt, repeating the same lessons, attracting the same people, reliving the same pain, until you finally wake up and ask, what is the signal I am sending to the field? Once you ask that question, you begin to take back your power from the inside out. You realize that money isn't about effort, it's about frequency. That love isn't about luck, it's about alignment. That success isn't about hustle, it's about coherence. Coherence between your thoughts, your heart, your body, and your actions. When those four align, you become a magnet for miracles. And I'm not talking about fluff. I mean literal quantum shifts in your health, your wealth, your relationships, your reality. But coherence cannot be faked. It is measured by the field. It is earned through integration, not performance. And here's something no one will tell you. The higher the frequency you access, the more responsibility you carry. Not responsibility to others, but to your own alignment. Because when you begin to create from the field, your manifestations arrive faster, your feedback loops tighten, and your reality becomes more sensitive to your vibration. This is why some people feel like their lives were easier before they awakened. Because before, they lived in unconscious patterns, buffered by time and density. But now, the field is real time. You think it, you feel it, it shows up. You doubt it, you fear it, it collapses. This is not punishment. This is mastery. This is what it means to graduate from the school of earth and step into conscious creation. But let's go even deeper. The most forbidden aspect of this secret is this: you are not just bending reality, you are reality. The idea of a separation between you and your life is an illusion. There is no out there. There is only frequency. There is only field. There is only feedback. When you shift your state, you shift the simulation. When you command from truth, the hologram responds. Because the hologram is not separated, it is you in motion. Everything you see, every face you meet, every obstacle you face is a reflection of the signal you are holding. And once you own this fully, you stop blaming, you stop begging, You stop waiting. You start creating. Ask yourself right now, what would your life look like if you truly remembered that nothing is outside of you? That your current reality is not your destiny, it's your echo. Can you feel the truth of that in your bones, not just your brain? Can you sit with the discomfort of knowing that every limitation you've accepted was a choice, even if unconscious? This is where the power begins. Not when you learn something new, but when you stop lying to yourself about the old. Now let's talk about the mechanics. How do you actually bend reality from the 33rd degree power? First, you must enter the 0 point. This is the space of pure potential, beyond emotion, beyond thought, beyond identity. You reach it through stillness, breath, and deep surrender. When you are in this space, you are no longer trying to make something happen, you are allowing it to be. The 0 point is not a place of asking, it is a place of knowing. You don't try to manifest from this space. You remember what you already are. And from that remembrance, you transmit. You don't visualize because you need it, you visualize because you already are it. Second, you calibrate your field. This means aligning your nervous system to hold the new frequency before the evidence shows up. This is the real work. This is why most people never sustain quantum shifts. Because they try to hold a new vibration with an old nervous system. But if your body doesn't feel safe with abundance, you will sabotage it. If your body doesn't feel safe with love, you will reject it. The field listens to your body, not your mouth. So the real shift happens not in the mind, but in the soma, in your breath, your posture, your tone, your habits. When your body believes the new frequency, reality locks into place. Third, you must act from the new timeline now, not tomorrow, not when it's comfortable. Now, you must speak from it, move from it, choose from it. Not because you're pretending, but because you're collapsing the delay between inner and outer. Most people wait for proof before they shift. Masters shift, and then the proof arrives. That's the difference between living in reaction and living in creation. And finally, the most sacred part, you release attachment. Not as a spiritual bypass, but as an energetic mastery. You trust the field more than the result. You surrender the how, the when, the form. Because you know that the frequency you hold will always deliver what matches it, often in ways you couldn't have predicted. You don't micromanage the divine. You partner with it. You don't chase outcomes, you match them. This is the essence of the 33rd degree. You become the source, not the seeker. And when you live from this space, your life becomes legend. Not because it's perfect, but because it's potent. You bend time. You defy logic. You make the impossible normal. And the more you embody this, the more others begin to question their own limitations. You don't need to teach, you are the teaching. You don't need to convince, you are the evidence. And this is how we shift the world, not by force, but by frequency. So now I'll ask you, with no filter, no fluff, are you ready to stop living as the echo of your past and start vibrating at the frequency of your future? Are you ready to stop reacting and start radiating? Are you ready to remember what your soul has always known? Because this isn't just a video, this is an activation. And you didn't find it by accident. Now that we've crossed the threshold, you can feel it, can't you? Your mind is no longer seeking answers in the external. Your spirit is no longer waiting for permission. Something ancient inside you is stirring something that remembers the truth you were never supposed to forget. This isn't just about bending reality anymore. This is about becoming the architect of it. The final layer of the 33rd degree power is not about doing more, it's about being more. It's about dissolving the illusion of separation so completely that you no longer see yourself as a character inside the simulation, but as the one writing the code. You begin to understand that every moment is a test not of your strength, but of your frequency. Every challenge is not here to break you, but to reflect to you where your signal is still divided. If your external world seems chaotic, it's not because you're off track, it's because your field is purging distortion. The old you is collapsing. The version of you that tolerated misalignment, that lived in fear, that played small to make others comfortable, that version is dying. And the death of that self will feel like depression, like confusion, like emptiness. But those are not symptoms of failure. They are symptoms of upgrade. You are being initiated into a state of consciousness most people never touch in a lifetime. Here's the paradox: the more powerful you become, the less you need to prove it. You no longer seek to convince people of your vision, because you understand the field doesn't respond to noise, it responds to clarity. You no longer explain your worth, because your vibration speaks louder than your words. You no longer chase what you used to beg for, because now you realize you are the source of all of it. Through the money, the love, the peace. It was never outside of you. It was waiting for you to stop outsourcing your divinity. Now, let's talk about bending time. This is where it gets real. Time is not linear, it is plastic. It is a perception shaped by your internal state. When you are in alignment, time expands. You accomplish more with less effort. Synchronicities multiply. You flow. When you are out of alignment, time contracts. You rush, you force, you grind. The secret here is not to manage time, it's to collapse the need for it. How? By aligning so deeply with your desired timeline that it has no choice but to emerge. This is not theory. This is quantum mechanics. Your future is not waiting for you. It's already coded into the field. The version of you who already has the thing you desire, the wealth, the wisdom, the impact, that version already exists as a vibrational pattern. Your job is not to chase it. Your job is to match it. When you match the frequency of that version of you, you teleport into that timeline, not physically, but vibrationally. And once you do, the outer world rearranges itself to reflect your new embodiment. The most forbidden part of this secret is that you can change your entire life without changing your circumstances first. You don't need to move cities. You don't need to find a guru. You don't need to wait until next year. You need to shift your signal now. And when you do, the people, the opportunities, the breakthroughs, they appear. Not because the universe suddenly favors you, but because it always did. You were just blocking the signal with your own disbelief. Let me be clear, this is not about bypassing. This is not about pretending everything is fine when it's not. This is about precision. This is about becoming so energetically accurate that you no longer tolerate anything that isn't a full body yes. You no longer make decisions from fear. You no longer say yes to things that drain you. You no longer entertain conversations that lower your frequency. Why? Because you finally understand that every moment is a declaration to the field. Every thought, every word, every choice is a command to reality. And reality always listens. The only question is, what are you commanding? Now, let's talk about the role of the body. Your body is the antenna. It's not just a vessel, it's the interface. If your body is out of alignment, your signal is distorted. This is why embodiment is non-negotiable. You can't just think high-frequency thoughts, you must feel them in your cells. This means breath work. This means movement. This means sacred rest. You must train your body to feel safe in expansion. Because if your nervous system is locked in survival, it will reject abundance. It will sabotage intimacy. It will collapse opportunity. Not because you're cursed, but because your body doesn't yet believe it's safe to receive. So the work becomes somatic. You breathe into the discomfort. You alchemize the fear. You rewire your system by being the new timeline, even when your outer world hasn't caught up yet. That's the real faith. Not believing in something you can see, but knowing something so deeply that you embody it before it manifests. This is what the ancients meant by walking by faith, not by sight. They weren't talking about religion. They were talking about quantum alignment. And when this becomes your way of life, you no longer react to the old matrix. You respond from the new one. You no longer beg the universe for signs, you become the sign. You no longer wait for alignment, you are the alignment. And this is the final level of the 33rd degree power. You stop living in reaction to what is, and you start generating what will be. You become so anchored in your signal that nothing outside of you has the power to shake it. Not rejection, not failure, not delay. Because you know that you are not here to chase certainty, you are here to become the frequency that bends reality.